Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 29th of September. My name is Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Pia.
Gary, another month done and dusted.
Well, not exactly. A couple of days left, you know.
Okay.
Still.
Look, obviously from a business point of view,
Yes.
and by the time next week's GPTV comes around,
Yes.
it will be October.
It will.
I said in the sales meeting yesterday, literally 10 weekends left to sell
it.
this year. And I said to the staff, time to start signing properties up for February 2016.
And they have. They're doing it for
Yep.
February and March. Already the listings are starting to come through, Phillip.
Unbelievable how quickly this year has gone past.
It has run away. Let's talk about the weekend, Phillip. It wasn't one of our best
No,
weekends.
and hence, Ashley, the towers will not be up.
No towers, oh no.
Because it would be
Yes.
fair to say that we did slip under the industry average this weekend, and we're
yeah.
not going to put those towers up
Yes.
because they don't paint Gary Peer and Associates in the favourable light that we
No,
like.
we're not. Well,
and you know what? This is our show, Gary, and
Yeah.
we can dictate the terms of this show.
Oh, and we should rewind back, and in the interest of transparency, we'll tell you everything. But it was, it was north of 60%. It was still an okay clearance rate, Phillip, but not as good as it has been in the past. Having said that, Phil, a lot of the stuff that we didn't sell as passed in is very close to being sold now.
Interestingly, yes, if I can pick
and
up
there's
on a point.
offers on all that stuff.
So
on
all of the
table.
properties that
Yeah.
we did pass in on the weekend, which wasn't a huge number, by the way.
No, it's only 25 properties.
All of
Yeah,
the properties
Yes, a few.
did have offers made on them, either at the auction or in the immediate
Yeah.
post-auction negotiation.
Yes.
So we'll get them all over the line
But
because we're good operators.
We have, but having said that, the market has, in my opinion, based on last weekend alone, settled a little, Phil. Still settled at a very high, healthy level, but settled somewhat.
The market is alive and well. But before we launch in, Gary, to
Yep.
what's going on in the market, it's kind of a big week because we've got in the show today, we've got an interview
We have,
coming
Phillip.
up. So
we're getting very cultured. It's a cultured edition.
Viewers, we've decided that we need to shake the show up a little bit. Well,
Yes.
at least I've decided that. I haven't told you this. We're going to shake the show up a bit. And I think we're going to bring in some interesting interviews with people that are within our local community.
Yes.
So if you know anybody interesting that
Yep.
would like to come on the show, happy for some suggestions. But we've got an interesting interview coming up.
We'll talk about it in a moment.
Something that is allied, of course, to the housing industry.
It is.
More importantly than all of that, though, Gary, I'm just loving the feedback that we get from our viewers.
No, I don't like this one. No, I can't agree with this
I
one.
have to special shout out to Peter and Nora, who leapt to your defence a couple of weeks
They
ago
did.
because they thought that I'd given you a bit of a bag.
You were harsh, Phillip.
when it came to your ridiculous bushy eyebrows, which are looking good today.
Oh, thanks.
And the fact that you
Like I care what you think about my eyebrows.
The fact
Yeah.
that you never ever keep your hair at the right length. So,
Yes.
and I keep saying, viewers, when he has his haircut, as he's paying, he should make an appointment for the next haircut because you let it go too far apart. Anyway, Peter and Nora thought I gave you a bagging, and they leapt to
You
your
did.
defence by sending me emails saying, no, you can't talk to
Thank
him
you
like
for
this
that.
way. Having
Let's
said
just leave
that,
it there.
Peter and Nora took exception to the way you looked last week. And
They've had a go.
You've got to remember, viewers, when I look at him on this show, I'm kind of looking at him from this angle.
Yes.
What we didn't see was his galah angle. And Peter and Nora not only
Look at the photo.
picked
Have a
it
look. It's
up,
on the screen
but
now.
they've actually put the galah in as well.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
So-
Have a look at that image. That's very
Thanks,
kind.
Peter, and thanks, Nora.
Yeah.
And a special shout out to Gary's wife, Hannah, who is a meticulous woman. You don't mind me
I
describing her.
don't. She wouldn't have married me if she wasn't.
She's meticulous.
Exactly right.
And she's meticulous about presentation and the way everything looks. And that's a compliment, by the way, Hannah. I'm not having a go. But, spend a little bit of your focus making sure he looks presentable.
Yes.
Because sometimes you let him go to work looking ridiculous. And that galah photo, really, you've got to lift your game.
Can we move on to the market, Phillip? We sold Beauville Avenue, Murrumbina. We shot this. We shot the Carnegie report in Beauville Avenue, Phillip, and that was an auction where we were quoting 9 to $1 million in that sort of range, and the reserve was at the top of the range, a little bit over. But certainly the vendors were in line with that quote. But
Why are you talking so slowly and somberly?
Because it's a very big secret that I'm sharing. Because
Anybody would think you're about to announce next Saturday's Tats Lotto numbers.
The numbers are no, but Phillip, what happened was. The
can feel the
purchaser
tension
asked for
building
the
here.
price undisclosed, so we're not putting it in the paper. But for people who watch this show, we're going to let them know it's sold for $1,180,000. Phillip, that's a lot over the reserve price.
Well, thankfully, it was a
Greatly
lot over
over-
the reserve
yeah.
price because the story build up.
It was fantastic. It was
something
worth it.
extraordinary was going to happen.
It's in the presentation, Phillip. Up the road in Warrail Street, Carnegie, we had a very successful auction there. That was quoted in that sort of low to mid threes, sold in the high threes, 388. Philip?
Gary, I had a bit of a quiet weekend on the weekend.
You did.
So I took that opportunity to
Yes.
go out and have
And-
a look
and
at some of
intimidate
our
the
auctioneers.
auctioneers, yeah.
So I actually saw Lior conduct that auction. I thought
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I said Lior was fantastic.
I
not
know.
You were
I'm saying thank you very much
fantastic.
on behalf of Lior.
So that was a great result, but he's a really good auctioneer.
He's very good, and I actually had the pleasure of seeing you do the auction in Clive Street, Philip, and that went very well indeed.
It did.
Sold for well in excess of the reserve price, sold for $1,425,000,
It did.
Philip, and well done. Although the block of flats adjoining is available, and that's a buy for an investor.
I've got to
a
tell
block
you,
of apartments.
if you're looking for something for the superannuation portfolio, I could not highly recommend enough,
Yep.
if that makes sense, this block of apartments, because it's 3 of the biggest apartments, built in the 60s, 70s, so it's solid brick and really well
Yes.
looked after. And great investment. I'm surprised we haven't got that over the line yet.
Now, we've got a very nice story in Hartley Avenue. We sold that
Yeah,
on
that's
Sunday
a good
morning.
story.
That was a competitive auction, sold for $1,312,000, well above expectation and
Yep.
reserve.
Yep.
Tell us about the Hartley Avenue story, because there is a story attached to the property on the street.
So our vendors that we sold for on the weekend love the position of Hartley
they did.
Avenue so much. And it is a great position, walking distance to the tram and
Yes.
Einstein's. And
So we're
really
talking
good.
now about the seller of the property
Central
we had,
corporate.
yes.
So the seller
Yes.
sold that property because
Yes.
they bought a property that we'd sold them
Yes.
in Hartley Avenue.
Yes.
So they're literally...
They moved from
they're
one house
literally
in Hartley
crossing the
to another.
street.
Yes.
So no removalists, no point ringing us now looking for their number because they will not need
No
a removal
job
truck.
there.
So they've moved across the road, but the buyer
For their home.
for their home that we
Yes,
auctioned
on
on
Sunday.
Sunday is living in Hartley on the other side. So these people are moving from that side of Hartley to the other, and the buyer is moving from that side of
It'll
Hartley
be just
to
like
this side.
on settlement day. It'll be like a conveyor belt, won't they? It'll go from here to here to here to there.
You
So
just
tight-
get a whole series of trades
Yeah.
of removal people,
Yeah.
and they can literally just stand in the road passing it backwards and
Well,
forwards.
they're like, you know, I reckon they're snobs in Hartley. They won't let anybody else in, Philip. There's just a tight little snobby little group there that it's just shut to everybody but
Quite
Hartley
sure that's
residents.
what you should be saying on
okay.
GPTV.
Well, it's a tightly
Although
held street.
I think
People
what
love
you're
it.
trying to say is that it's such a great street and great position.
Yeah.
If you live there, you know how
Yes.
great it is,
You're
and
right.
You just
That
don't want to leave.
an inappropriate way to present it. What I'm saying is it's a tight
Ah,
shop there.
just-
Too
I
late.
think
Damage
it's-
is done.
correct.
All the Hartley Street people hate me. Hopefully you'll just be the agent
I'm
of
the
that street.
nice one at Gary
Yeah.
Pure and Associates.
Well,
listed
for
with
Hartley
me.
Avenue anyway.
Yeah.
Philip, Beresford Street is undisclosed, but we did sell it to a footballer, didn't we? Which is interesting. We can't
did,
say who.
we did.
But it
Although
was
we
a,
can say that it was a football finalist.
Yes, an
that-
AFL football finalist.
That
yes.
didn't make the grand final
No.
because they lost to West. They lost to.
Oh, it's getting-
who they
So
lose
they
to?
okay. So it's a North Melbourne footballer. Okay. Yeah, you're good
okay.
at keeping a secret, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay.
So
but we're not going to tell you any more about
But
it other than
it
that.
did sell very well, in excess of expectations, Philip, and under competition. And Lior, again, another good auction. Coffee van was there; it was all happening,
The
Philip.
the coffee
as it
van
was
there.
in our probably best auction of the weekend in terms of in manic.
Do you know
and
what's
result.
happened to my caffeine levels? I'm drinking so much coffee now.
It's good.
It's
You're
just-
jumping off the walls, aren't you?
They say a bit of caffeine does stave off dementia.
Is that
That's
right?
The latest research says that coffee in moderation is probably a good thing in the combating of dementia.
Well, that's a good thing for
I
you,
think
isn't
you
it?
should drink a lot more coffee, Gareth.
What was that? Yes, 21
Who are
Estar
you?
Road. Who are you? What am I doing here? 21 Estar Road, Philip. That was our auction of the week. The reserve there was a little bit above what we thought it might be. It was 1.5. We were quoting kind of into the 1.4s.
And I'm lucky to be here, really, aren't I?
You are lucky to be. I don't want to talk about that, but
Well, I'm going to talk about
but that sold for $1,735,000. Philip, it went nuts. There were 7 bidders through the roof. Congratulations on a good auction. Let's move on
A
now.
special shout out to the police department,
Caulfield
the
Police,
City of Glenara Police Department, who are situated, of course, in
Hawthorne Road,
Hawthorne Road, Caulfield. All I want to say is, you guys do, and ladies do, a great job, and thank you very much for driving through
That auction,
the
yeah.
middle of that auction,
Yes, and being good sports.
And I'm terribly sorry what I did to your car.
Fair enough.
But
Well,
thank you for your good
We're not
humour.
going to say anymore. Now, Philip, one of the best builders in the area.
Do you know, my son was there, as
Yes.
you know, Jacob, and he looks
Yeah.
after a bit of our social media.
Yes.
And after the auction, he said, Dad, what I was really hoping for was that after I hit the car
Or
with my hand,
tap the car, we'll say.
tap the car,
Yeah.
rub the bonnet
Rub the
gently.
bonnet, yes.
He said, I was hoping the police would get out and actually arrest you.
So
and
was
put,
I.
And put you into the back of the divvy van,
Yes.
because he said that video would have gone viral around the world sold, and you would have stepped in and finished the auction.
I would have too,
And
yes.
by the way, I'd probably still be presenting myself before the magistrates' court now, pleading.
Well, I don't know what the
pleading
statute.
bail.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is, so it could be done.
Anyway,
job could
we
be done
will
today.
be dropping in a couple of cases of VB,
Indeed.
just because you guys and ladies at the Hawthorne Road Police Department are great sports.
Now, before we cut away to the culture part of our show, Phillip, I want to talk a bit about one of the best builders in Caulfield, who's actually built for family and friends and professionals alike, Phillip.
Yes.
That is Omnicom. They have been around for a long time.
Constructions.
They've been around for a long time. They are known to do awesome work. And if you're in a home that Omnicom built, firstly, you're probably never going to sell it because you're never going to get a better house. But secondly, if you do sell it, the market understands that's quality. And we are incredibly blessed, Phillip, to be selling the actual director of Omnicom, Rodney Ephron. We're selling his home in York Street in Caulfield South.
And what an incredible house
Isn't
it
this
is too.
fantastic?
I've just had a bit of a walk through here.
It hasn't
Gary.
started yet. It starts this weekend. Take us through it.
This house is extraordinary. It's got the best bedrooms for kids I think I've ever seen.
Yes.
They're really, I was about to say they're double bedrooms, but they're almost triple. Most of the bedrooms have got a double bed in them and then a sitting area.
They're very
And
big.
one of the cleverest things I've seen, which I haven't seen in houses before, but into two of the girls' bedrooms, he's put a basin
Like a vanity
and a
setup, isn't it?
vanity setup.
Yeah.
And I was just speaking to one of the daughters who said it's been the best way to grow up because there's been 3 daughters, which means they all went into their bedrooms, teeth and makeup and all of that sort of thing was all there in. Was all brushing their teeth.
Oh, brushing their teeth.
Not putting their teeth in.
Well, I had false teeth. I thought they're pretty young.
Anyway, they said that they'd shower and use the toilet, but they'd go back to their room and do what girls do.
They have that whole
in the
dressing
privacy
area,
of
which
their
is
own
lovely.
room. So I looked at that and I thought, gee, that's something that other people should do. It's very, very
But this is
clever.
also a beautiful entertaining area for entertainer's home because we're in the front sitting room here, which is lovely. There's an very expansive meals and family area and it all overlooks towards the north. It's got beautiful light and there's this incredible studio out the back and it's quite interesting because you can actually park, you can bring plenty of cars in the front, but also at the back off Alder Street you can bring your car through into the garage there as well. So it's quite interesting. There's
a big parcel of land and York Street's obviously a great address and plenty of off-street car parking, Gary. A bit of a segue coming up here, which if you have a whole fleet of taxis...
Or Uber. If you're Uber.
I'm going to go with the taxis at the moment because if you've got a fleet of taxis, there's plenty of off-street car parking for them. And the reason I'm talking about taxis is I've just started watching through Netflix Narcos, which is the story of Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar, yeah. Most amazing. If you want to watch, if you've got Netflix and you want to watch an incredible series, Narcos.
What's that got to do with this house exactly?
Well,
does coffee really get rid of dementia?
You'll watch it and the whole taxi story will come into it. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with York Street, but this is a seriously good house.
It is a beautiful home and certainly been renovated extensively over the years, Phillip. We're looking forward to bringing this one to the market. 14 York Street, put that on the must-see shopping list of your real estate.
Gary, let's talk art now because it's fitting.
And look at this painting here behind us. It sort of all ties in, doesn't it, Phil?
Do you know, that was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, but I thought you might have forgotten. Go on.
With the Bromley in the background, let's cut away now to the interview with Irving Laughner, who is one of Australia's leading art gallerists, art dealer. And he has the most extraordinary collection housed in the centre of Caulfield. And if you don't know Irving, you won't know about this gallery. And he's selling some of Australia's best artists at what we would consider to be trade or wholesale prices.
That's right. It is a great opportunity to meet Irving. He's a delightful guy. We cross over to him now. And if for all your art needs, consider Irving. Let's go.
Irving, great to have you on the show. I'm always in awe of coming here because I walk into this room in particular, and let alone the other rooms, and I'm just overwhelmed by your quality of stock and the level of stock.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. It's taken a few years to build up this amount of inventory, and I don't think there's anybody else that actually owns outright so much artwork. And I deal mainly in the trade, and here we are.
So are you telling me every painting here is yours?
It is, yes.
Incredible.
But you didn't paint them all.
No, I didn't paint them all.
This is like it's kind of this incredible setup. There's just paintings everywhere. This is like going to a great winery, to the cellar door of a great winery.
It is.
That's very nice of you, yeah.
Irving, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show is obviously we get the opportunity to sell some fabulous houses, and we go into so many houses where we look at the walls and we think, how good would it be to see some good artwork? So one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show is that we could introduce you to our viewers, because to have the opportunity to come and see you direct and get big name artists.
Yes.
But at a fraction that you'd pay in the high street galleries.
It's true. I deal mainly in the secondary market, meaning that there are dealers that sell a work by an artist that sells, for example, $10,000. But on the secondary market, it might be if you bought something for $10,000 and tried to sell it the next day, somebody would offer you half that if you had to sell.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I try and sell it for that half price figure,
Okay.
and it's not any different than diamonds. If you buy a diamond in a jewelry store, try selling it the next day to anybody that knows anything about diamonds.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get the money you paid for it, would you?
Yeah, well, it's true.
That's right. And it's the same with
Not that I've ever
artwork.
bought any diamonds.
Of course not.
And how long have you been doing this art thing for?
30 years.
So you're starting like us in real estate. So you're starting
We
to hang of it
started
now.
around this, yes,
We
just
did.
about. That's right.
We were houses
When you
and
sold,
were-
when
yeah.
I bought my first house from you.
That's right.
In Glen
That's
Ira
right.
Road,
Wow,
that's
it goes
right.
back
There
a
was a
while.
few pieces on the wall, but nothing like this at
So
that time.
we sold the walls and you sold the stuff to go up on the walls.
That's right, that's
Fantastic.
right.
And tell us about what's going on in the art world now. What's in, what's selling well?
Well, all these artists, being that I deal mainly in the trade, all these artists are good secondary market artists, meaning they're sold, resold. Almost everyone is represented in a state gallery, whether it's Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland. Most of them have been in the Archibald as a finalist. One or two of them have actually won the Archibald. And the market is good. I actually compare the art market to the property market. You know, all those houses that occasionally don't sell, not with Gary Peer, of course,
thank you.
but with your competitors. I say if the prices were lower, they would sell,
Yes.
wouldn't they?
Yeah.
The houses that pass
Yeah.
in. It's the same thing with artwork. If the price is right, things sell all the time.
Now, I don't know much about art. And
Yes.
as you know, I come from a family. My
Yes.
uncle was a very
Right.
well-known art dealer, quite an identity.
Who I knew well, that's
But
right.
you did know, but I don't know about art at all.
Right.
I've got no idea. Philip's a lot more cultured in that respect. But I come in here and it's very colourful. You know, sometimes you look at displays of art and it's kind of sombre and it's serious. But here it seems very sort of happy.
Well, that's the trend now in artwork,
Yeah.
contemporary artworks. All the billion-dollar auctions you hear about overseas are more than contemporary artworks like Roy Lichtenstein, Keith Haring, Damien Hirst, and people like that, as opposed to even the old masters, Rembrandt or Picasso, Chagall. This is what people really want now. You know, when I first started 30 years ago, I went into galleries where the gallery owner was 50 years old, and on the wall you'd see Picasso, Chagall, Moreau, Matisse, right? All million-dollar works. Now I go back to New York, go to the same galleries. The dealers are now in their mid-80s, but on the wall you see Roy Lichtenstein, Keith Haring, Damien Hirst, and all the contemporary artists.
Yeah.
And that's what people want now.
Take us through some of your names here, because I recognise a lot of the art, and
Yes.
there's some seriously famous Australian names here.
Yes, well, for example, we've got Michael Johnson behind me, who's a master abstractionist in Australia, represented in every state gallery and every major corporate collection. We have David Bromley, who's very popular at the moment. We have Melinda Harper, who just had a one-woman show at the Heidi Gallery.
The viewers might recognise, if you've been into our Caulfield office, our walls, courtesy of you, Irving,
Thank you.
are hanging some of these names, and the number of people that come into our office and just say, love that, love that, love that.
Right.
The art's, I think the art's very approachable.
It is.
Is that a way of describing your?
Yeah, at the price point here, sure, you can buy paintings for $300,000-$400,000, but you know, most of the market is in the $5,000 to $15,000 range,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what people buy. And I'm amazed at how young people are buying. At that age, I never would have bought artwork. I would have thought there's so much better things to do with money, but people are buying artwork.
And let me ask you, is it going up in value? I mean, I know you've sold us a bit of stuff over the years as well.
Yes.
Can we get a
And
bit
the
of
stuff that
return on
he
that?
sold you is not going up. Something he sold me is going
Yeah, I
up.
know. I wonder why I was laughing when we walked out. I couldn't work that out. But so is it an investment?
Well, first of all, I think it's funny that a person could go out and buy a leather lounge room suite for $10,000 and not think for a second what will it be worth in 10 years' time. But as soon as they spend $50 to hang something on the wall, they want to know if it's a good investment.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
probably
But to
well
answer
put.
your question is, everything is a good investment if you buy it at the right price. If something sells for $15,000 in a gallery and you buy it for $15,000, it might take a while for the actual value to surpass $15,000. But if something sells for $15,000, I try and sell it for $7,500. It's worth that $7,500 now, if not more. So it depends on what you buy the work at.
So it all gets back to the price you pay.
That's right.
And of course, I mean, what does this mean to our viewers as well? I mean, our viewers, again, they've had a bit of a look around, and I know
Right.
we've been panning some of your
Right,
great
yes.
stuff here while we're talking. What does it mean to them if they want to come and buy? Because you're not really a shop. You're not open
No,
to the
I'm not.
public
I
so
deal
much, are
mainly
you?
in the trade. I supply galleries, interior designers, consultants,
So what sort of special
auction houses.
Can our viewers get an opportunity to buy some art from
Can
you?
our viewers ring you? How does that?
Yes,
you're happy
it's
for
all
them
by
to call?
appointment.
Yep.
I do this all week long, and they're more than welcome to come visit if they give me a
it's
call.
A bit of an opportunity for our viewers, Philip, to get in on
Absolutely.
really something that they would have to probably pay double for
And
otherwise.
I think one of the reasons we wanted to showcase you today is A, you've been so kind in
Thank
providing
you.
our offices with beautiful work. But secondly, we think this is a real hidden jewel.
It is.
In
Thank
Caulfield.
you.
Yeah.
Unless you know about it, you'll never know about it.
Never know
No
about
sign
it.
outside this
And
place.
we think
No,
about all
no.
of the houses we sell
Yes.
that could do with some of your art on the wall. And it's interesting, the viewers might be interested to know, I've just found a painting here today, and the price is $1,500. So we're not talking about having to spend $10,000 here, are
No,
we? You've got
no.
paintings that start from $1,500, obviously go to what, $20,000, $30,000?
Yes, and I would have preferred you bought one of those.
Well, I think it is one of those he wants to buy, but just wants to pay $1,500 for it. Well, if you want to get in touch with Irving, his number's on the screen. You can give him a call and visit him directly for some of the most beautiful art that's available and around. And there's some real hidden jewels here, isn't there?
Thank you, guys.
Certainly just allow quite some time because there's so much to see. I mean, the stock here is just incredible.
And they would see more here than an entire weekend of gallery hopping. You know, you
that's
could drive all over Melbourne for 2-3 days and you wouldn't see as much as
And
you see.
secondly, allow a lot of time because once Irving winds up having a chat with Irving, you're going to be here for a good hour or
right.
so.
And if you're on his good side, he'll even light up a cigar with you because he's quite an aficionado.
Like you, Gary, like
I
you.
am. I don't
All
mind
right.
that either. So that's a big wrap from Irving. And thank you,
Thank
Irving,
you.
for being
Pleasure,
on the
guys.
show. We appreciate it.
Nice that you
Thanks,
came.
Irving.
Thank you.
Keep Irving in mind for some beautiful art.
Thank you, guys.
So that's a big wrap. Thank you, Irving, for being on the show. He is a
What a
delightful
great guy.
fellow. He is a delightful fellow. And that's a big wrap for this week,
I
Phil.
bought-
We've got
I
no
bought-
auctions
I
to
bought
review.
that painting too.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Good on
yeah.
you. We've got no auctions to review, Philip, because we do have a little weekend off.
Grand
Being the
final, who's your tip,
weekend.
Gary?
Oh,
No,
it's
you're
hard
gonna
to go
with
past
Hawthorn,
Hawthorn.
aren't
Well, how
you?
can you go
Yeah.
past them?
Well,
They're so good, aren't
I've
they?
got to tell you, watching
Had enough of them,
West,
but-
watching West Coast play, they are strong, they're fit.
Are you gonna tip them,
They
though?
look pretty fresh. Well, I looked at the odds, and I'm not a betting man, but I
that.
reckon that's a good.
You're better off for it, too.
I reckon that's a good. I reckon that's a good bet.
So they're your tip.
It's kind of
Well,
hard to
you
go.
can't say they're a good bet and not back them.
Hard to go past Hawthorn.
Yeah, so they're a good bet or not? You're sitting on the fence.
I know.
Well, make a call. Which one is it?
I'm on West Coast.
There you go. We've
Yeah.
heard. Well, one
It's
of
going
us.
to be a good game, though.
Well, one of us is going to be right, and
Correct.
we've got plenty of auctions coming up the week after
I really
the
don't
grand
like
final.
West Coast, but Hawthorn.
How much can they win?
I know, it's
Enough
kind of
already.
like- I love
if you're
it.
a Hawthorn
It's a great
supporter,
club.
they're a Melbourne team. I'm going to go
Special
for
shout
Hawthorn.
out to Tamara, who actually follows them
Tamara.
religiously.
She's a watcher of the show,
Yeah.
and she's got a dog by the name of
Cyril.
Rioli. No, it's Cyril Rioli. It's not just Cyril. Don't respond to Cyril
So,
Rioli, because there might be another Cyril in the house
in
at the time.
respect to Tamara,
Yeah.
I'm going to get off West Coast and get back on
Okay,
Hawthorn.
so go the Hawks. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll speak to you next week on GPTV. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a great week.
Bye now.